We're Ashley and Ivan. For the last 10 years, we've worked as a husband and wife team in nonprofit and business.
We know both the joy and the tension that comes from working with your spouse. That's why we're so passionate about helping other Christian couples who lead and work together to turn tension into teamwork, communicate clearly, and lead as one.
Let's go on this journey together.
Hey, welcome to the Life Duo podcast. My name is Ivan.
I'm Ashley.
And in our last episode, we talked about decision-making process and how important it is to align our hearts with God versus just seeking answers from Him so that we can find clarity and avoid tension and unnecessary fights.
And today we're building on that. So today's episode is called The Power of Vision, going from aimless to fulfilled. And so every decision that you make is actually leading you somewhere, and that gives you direction. But direction isn't enough. We need to get to a place where God is taking us and showing us a bigger picture, and that is vision.
Yeah. You can think of decisions kind of like stepping stones towards the vision that God has given to you. And so we just want to ask two really simple questions right off the bat. Do you know what that God-given vision is as a couple together? And secondly, can you clearly communicate it? So if you can't, that's okay. Or maybe it's a bit foggy, or maybe you just need to revisit that. That's why we're having this episode, so we can help you discover that new vision, fresh vision with God today.
Vision is different than dreams. We can daydream about things, inspiration, and things that we could do. Vision is actually something that should guide you and direct you to a bigger picture that the Lord wants to build with you. Vision shapes how you live life, how you actually make choices, how you prioritize things, and what you actually build towards, right? Then you just know this is what we're made for, and we're excited to share and tell you all about it. And vision gives you meaning and momentum together as a couple to move towards and forward.
Yeah, it's true. For couples who work together, shared vision is not optional. It is absolutely essential. It is what keeps you aligned. It's what helps you stay on track together. It's really how you lead as one. So here's a simple definition of shared vision. It's a God-given picture of a future that you're building with one another. It's something bigger than either of you could do on your own.
So then what is the value of vision? Having a vision. And Proverbs 29:18 says that where there is no vision, people perish. And another translation says that they cast off restraint, meaning they drift.
That's exactly what happens to couples when you don't have a shared vision, is they start to drift. And it usually happens in phases. First, it starts with distraction. Secondly, it moves to disengagement, where we aren't engaging with the things that God has called us to do. And over time, it turns into discouragement, that we don't feel that sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in doing what God has called us to do. And that can get us into a place of hopelessness. And it can be really a low spot for us.
And when that drive and passion that you have with God starts to fade and disappear, something inside of you starts to die a little. And that you lose sense of God-given excitement or even focus, and you're really going to feel aimless.
But on the flip side, when we have that shared vision, it's like something is awakened within us. It's the thing that keeps us up at night in a good way, where we just can't wait to do it with God. It's the thing that drives us to take new risks and step out confidently in ways that we would have never done before, because it just touches something so deep inside that we know this is what I was created for. And I can't believe, God, that I get to do it with you and with my spouse. It creates that momentum, that drive, that passion, and that fulfillment inside of us.
But what's more scary is that when God releases that vision, it does require our faith. And so it can be slightly terrifying because it is bigger than you, because you can't do it alone. You have to do it with God. And that vision should inspire you to really lean to God and say, God, I need you to help me fulfill what you have given to me so that I can be a good steward of your vision. Maybe you're listening, you're thinking, oh man, I've lost sight of that vision. Or maybe I've never really clarified it. And that's okay. It happens to all of us. And so how do we find that vision then? How do we go from feeling aimless to feeling fulfilled, and that you want to wake up excited or you can't go to sleep because you're so excited?
And hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll be able to begin to take steps towards that. For us, this is personal. There's a time before we started Life Duo that not only were we distracted and disengaged, it turned into discouragement and aimlessness. During that time, we were kind of taking the next steps we knew that God was leading us towards. For me, I was still trying to figure out kind of like, God, am I supposed to do this? And looking at new opportunities and saying yes to them. And as I got into them, it was like, this is good, but there's something deeper that I'm missing here. And I don't feel that fulfillment I know that, God, you've created me for.
And what made it hard was that we were taking the very next faithful step as we knew how. But in a big picture sense, everything still felt unclear and unfocused and disconnected. And kind of thinking like, how does what we do fit into a big picture that we had hoped for or what God has shown to us?
Yeah. And over time, that discouragement we had mentioned, it hit us hard. And it became a little bit more about like, God, are you still good? Like, we're doing these things, but how does this all connect? And are you working in the midst of the things that we can't see? And it was hard for us to really fight through that. And maybe you're at that same place where you're kind of being faithful, plotting along, saying yes to God. That's amazing. Keep going. But also knowing that like, man, we need to find how does this connect to the bigger picture in our lives? And, I just want to say God's so faithful that in the midst of that low point for us, he met us. He brought along this couple, this incredible couple. Their names are Joelle and Grace, and they really helped us move forward. They were pivotal in helping us, rediscovering hope and helping us see that God did have a vision. We just couldn't see it in that moment.
So as we found what our next step was and our vision for our future, and that became the birthplace for our life duo. And that really helped us carry through the next couple of years as we also face ups and downs. And that's why we believe that vision is so essential for especially a couple that are working and leading together. And sometimes all you need is someone like Joel and Grace to us to point you to the right direction. And in today's case, we want to share with you a framework that will simplify all of this and give you a pointed direction as to how you can find shared vision together. And we call this the Clarity Compass.
Alrighty, so let's get practical and work through this process that we call the Clarity Compass. This is really going to help you clarify that vision. But also, compasses, what's their purpose? Is that when we're lost in the woods and we don't know which direction to go, they help us point us with where we feel like is right, and especially our true north. And as you go through this framework, it will help you find that true north, that thing where it's the vision God has given to you, that you know that in any season, at any time, when you come back to this and you're taking steps towards that, that's exactly what God has called you to do. It will bring that excitement, that fulfillment, and also that alignment together as a couple, knowing that this is what we're about, this is what God has spoken to us, and the vision that he's given to us. So this framework has 3 questions that are going to help you unpack your vision with one another. And question number 1 is, where have I been? This is so important to see that before we can start looking forward, we have to actually look back at how God has already been at work in our lives. And this comes from Jeremiah 29, verse 11. It's a very, very popular verse. And if you don't know the context, just a bit is really helpful. During this time, the Israelites, they've been exiled from the promised land. They've kind of lost all hope. The very thing that God had been speaking to them for literally hundreds of years, they've lost. And it's in this moment that God shares this verse. He says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and plans to give you a hope and a future." It's beautiful. God is saying, I'm going to redeem all of this, even in the midst of all your mess ups. And what's really cool is that when you look at that word future, it's actually a word picture of someone rowing a boat, that their destination, their future, they have their back to it, and they're looking back to see where have they been? That God has been at work in your life. There have been moments throughout your life, experiences, people, and circumstances that you've begun to touch. I think this is what God has for me. Could this be my destiny in God? Could this be my God-given vision? There are times that you've touched that, and we want to look back and identify them. As you clarify those, it will help give you a better picture for what's next. And really, your vision should just be a continuation of what's happening, the next chapter, so to speak, in your life. And so it's so important to take some time to look back and recognize, where have I been?
So to unpack even more as to how you look back, consider these questions. One is, who are we naturally drawn to? Could be young people, old people, veterans, single moms or teenagers, or people that are struggling with homelessness. There are specific people that you are drawn to. It's so unique to you. Those are probably the people that you're going to continue to work, and God's going to release bigger picture and bigger vision regarding them. And second question is, what causes stir your hearts? What motivates you to do things? For example, maybe you want to see people financially free from their debts. You want to help decrease homelessness in your city. You want to see people mentally, spiritually, physically healthy, and He will continue to use your passion and your drive to create a bigger picture for you. And then lastly, what kind of work energizes you? What things or functions that do you love to do? You love cooking, you love administration, leadership, whatever it may be. That's probably the function that you will continue to develop, or He will continue to build upon that skill set that you already have to make the future even greater. And so these are the three questions that you should consider when you think about looking back.
Yeah. And so in order to look forward, we need to look back. And it's really important that we do, because God's already been at work and it's a discovery process.
And second part of the compass is, where are we going? What's God's invitation? Without any hesitation, limitations, fears, or anxiety, but just let the Lord speak to your heart and say, God, if I can have it your way, if I can dream about things that is on your heart for me, what would that be? I want to align myself to you and let yourself go in God's arm and God's future for your life.
Yeah, Ephesians 2:10 says that God has prepared good works for us. And so He has incredible things planned for you, the both of you, connected to your gifts, your passions, all the things we've just mentioned, and you stepping into those good things with Him. But it's important to recognize here that vision is bigger than practicality. We can't shrink it down to something that we feel like we can control. It's going to feel terrifying, like we mentioned. It's going to be exciting. And it's going to be like, wow, God, it's really going to require you to do this. And when you start touching that, you know you're in the right direction. And so it's so important to slow down, take some time individually and together, and let God speak to you about your vision. Ask Him about, God, how do these answers from where I've been, question 1, how do they fit into what's next for me? And it doesn't need to get into the details, but really that big, broad picture of, I see it, this is where we're going, and you're starting to shape that true north of what's next for you.
So last part of the compass is, who can help us get there? This is a community of people.
Who are the individuals in our life that can help us move forward to this vision that we sense from God? Who can speak into our blind spots? We all have them. And it's helpful, obviously. Spouses can do that for sure. But having others, whether it's mentors, peers, whoever, inviting them into that process, saying, hey, help us see what we don't see in our lives and how to move forward. And lastly, who can encourage us as we grow? You know, those people that are in our corner, that have that belief, when they hear that vision, they're like, man, I see it in you guys. I want to see you guys fulfill that. You have what it takes. How can I help you? What are the resources I can bring to the table to really help you fulfill what God's called you to do? And so as you think about these, perhaps you're like, well, we don't have anybody. And we totally get it. Early on in our marriage, we had that same thing. We're like, God, where are the people to help us do this stuff? Help us, please send them. And not too long after, people were showing up left, right, and center. God has people for you. And if you feel like there aren't any, pray, ask for Him to bring them into your life. And we believe He will.
Yeah, so after you've gone through Clear to Compass questions 1, 2, and 3, come together and share it with one another. And you're not looking for an exact match, just like how we have learned in the last episode when we hear and make decisions together, that it's like a puzzle piece. What's overlapping? What's complementing each other? What are patterns, values, things that is, there's like a common thread that's going between you two.
Yeah. And it really starts with that place of surrender as you come together, surrendering it to God and saying, God, help us see, how do these things come together, and so that we can fulfill it with one another. And it takes time. Vision will unfold over our lifetimes. So we'll have a view of it now. And as we take steps towards that in obedience, it becomes more clear. And throughout our lifetime, it will grow and it will shape. And the truth is, we'll probably be most fruitful in our 70s and 80s. And so right now, it's just a matter of discovering that vision and taking the next step with it. And so once you have all this down together, you have your clarity compass and your true north. And having this true north is really a game changer. And we want to share 2 reasons really quick of why having this is so vital. Reason number one is that it creates alignment. Again, when you have that shared direction, it helps us not drift from what we're supposed to do. It helps us have that clear understanding of this is what we're about. We're together. That we stop guessing of, should I do this? Should I not? Should I say yes to this thing? It all comes back to, does it align with the vision that we have from God? It really moves us from two individuals that feel like we're walking on two separate roads to both of us being on the same road, going in the same direction, and helping one another get to the destination.
And second reason why this will be helpful is that true north creates momentum. Vision gives meaning to your mundane days. You are making choices every single day, and that's onto something. You're not just doing it for the sake of doing it, and that should excite you and motivate you. Let your imagination grow, limitations die, and let him draw this new picture for you. And it should look like a continuation of something that you've been already doing, but way bigger and way more exciting.
And so remember, that vision starts with looking back, that God has been at work throughout your life. And there are moments and experiences that he wants you to look to that will help inform what he has for you throughout the rest of your life.
And we trust that as you go through this process, that God will meet you. He will bring back to life the things that have been dead and dormant, and that it will unite you two as a couple together, and that it will give you new momentum and to continue to strive and move forward.
Definitely. So take some time, individually go through these questions, and then come together and share what you get. And ask God to help you clarify what the vision looks like for you. And we realize there's limitations to something like this in an episode, that you can maybe only get so far, right? Maybe you go through this process and it's still a bit foggy, or it's like, we feel like what we heard is very different and we can't figure out how this comes together. Or perhaps you have that vision and you're hitting some obstacles and you're realizing, man, we need some help on how to move forward from this place. If that's the case, we'd love to get connected with you. There's a link down below for you to do that, where we just come alongside and help you move forward, discover that God-given passion that God wants and desires to give to you very clearly, and help you take that next step into fulfilling what he has created you for.
And we are so excited because we have finished our 10 episodes where we help couples who are leading together to turn tension into teamwork, communicate clearly, and lead as one. And so if this is something that you've enjoyed, subscribe and continue to join our movement, and that we want to continue to support you and grow together and journey together.
Definitely. Yeah, we really felt like it was important just to take our first 10 episodes to talk about what are the foundational things for any couple that they would need to really work well together. And just like Ash said, we're so excited that we have these to offer to you and to other couples. And so if you'd like to hear other topics, please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you, and we hope you've enjoyed them. We hope it's been helpful for you, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.